let's jump from this refresh to one that's really, I mean, it's familiar I mean, I've been using Menulog and Uber Eats and all those services a whole lot. So it's really familiar for me, but this is the last logo refresh we're going to be talking about on this episode. And that's Grubhub. There's a mention of Seamless. I'm just going to leave it. I've never heard of Seamless. So I don't know what Seamless is, but Grubhub um, has released their new logo. So Grubhub's been around since '04. They're owned by Just Eat, which is a huge company as it turns out, who also own Menulog. And Grubhub's new logo is essentially Menulog's logo with the wording changed.
Yeah, it's identical. Is it the kind of circumstance of like Burger King and Hungry Jack's?
Well, I mean, Grubhub is owned by Just Eat, so it's not quite the same because you're sort of talking about the product in different markets where I don't think this is really the case. I don't think that Grubhub's in Australia,
No. So
but
is that like the American version of Menulog for us?
maybe but just Eat only bought Grubhub in June on the 9th of June 2020. So, they've existed in isolation. Maybe they are sort of becoming but then again, Seamless is also a company that has been purchased. Oh no, okay, so Seamless merged with Grubhub. I guess this is just the great consolidation of all these different, like Menulog essentially, or Just Eat purchasing Menulog, purchasing Grubhub, purchasing Seamless, so on and so forth, and just consolidating all these companies. Because from a business case point of view, I think you really need that scale to make this profitable.
I have to say, I'm kind of loving thinking about Grubhub if it's the identical business essentially to Menulog in a different market, and Hungry Jack's and Burger King, for example. I'm loving that both of those American or outside of Australia based companies have taken on the branding of Australian companies, because I don't know if you saw, but recently in the US, Burger King got a new logo, which is very similar to Hungry Jack's here in Australia. And it's the same thing here where we
Right.
had the Menulog branding, which they've taken over to all these different places now. And I kind
Is
of wonder, is it
Menulog
Australian
Australian?
companies who would have done the branding for this? Are they getting international recognition essentially for it? Like, that's pretty exciting, I think, for what I would say Australia being quite a small market, getting that branding out there.
Yeah, I'm just reading into it. So, right, okay. So Menulog is an Australian company. In 2015, Menulog and Eat Now merged. And then in February 2015, Menulog and Eat Now merged. And then in May of 2015, so like 3 months later, Just Eat bought Menulog,
Mm-hmm.
bought the whole company. Yes,
Okay.
I wonder, maybe could it be that, and this happens with startups where they um, go into a small market as a test market, and then they see what works before they go into larger markets. Could it be that Australia is sort of the testing ground for branding, as you've
Yeah.
sort of said? I mean, not necessarily. That's not necessarily what you said. You were saying that the brand gets applied in Australia, and then
Yeah.
the
Well,
American brand takes it over.
I mean, I wonder if Menulog, the branding that we saw, which I think came about maybe like last year or started this year, it was pretty recent. I wonder if that was the first instance of that branding. But obviously, looking at all these different ones that you had up there, they're in lots of different markets. So I wonder if those markets had the same branding released at the same time, whether Australia was the first to see that branding. I don't know. And I don't know who did the branding for it either, whether it was an Australian company or not.
Yeah, I do wonder. Let me see if I can. No, I can't. It's not really talking about who did it.
Or whether it was internally done, because that's another option.
Yeah, it's funny. I think at the moment, because we can't travel, it doesn't matter too much. But as soon as we can travel, I think, if you're a Menulog customer over here, you go to the US, you see a familiar logo, I can see the benefits there, right?
Hmm.
I mean, anywhere in the world, it looks like they are present. Actually, here we go. Just Eat takeaway expansion. It looks like they're definitely in Europe. They seem to be, they're in Belgium, they're in the Netherlands, they're in Germany. So maybe they're in England. So yeah, they're quite big. So I think this is an interesting case study because it's like a family of logos, but the Just Eat logo, the type has its own look and feel. Menulog has its own look and feel. Skip the Dishes and now Grubhub have their own look and feel as well, yet they keep the similar icon. This is sort of another way, a different approach, but similar to what Zip is trying to do with Zip Pay, Zip Money, so on and so forth, that we just talked about. So, um, interesting one nonetheless.
Yeah, for sure.
I would say they haven't even changed the colors; they've just kept it all the same, gone with the orange.
Hmm.
It's not a overly crowded market, at least in Australia. So, and orange stands out enough. But that's probably enough time spent talking about food. I'm getting hungry.